folks. I think I was nearly simultaneous there. Instagram, everybody else just popped up all of a sudden, even though they are different countdowns. Countdown timers are different. I don't know. Anyway, kind of a crappy day. I'm in kind of a crappy mood. So, you know, here's what it is. But I do have a great pairing for you today. I really do. I don't. It's horse racing. There's supposed to be a baseball game on here after this. You know, it's getting to the point you just about cannot watch sports on TV unless you have pay one thing for baseball, one thing for basketball, one thing for pro football, one thing for college football. You know, cutting the cord was supposed to have like alleviated all of our cable problems and broken up the big cable monopolies. But now it's like everybody's charging. Instead of having one bill, you got like 15. Yeah, I bitched about that last week. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here because I have a great pairing. Today, I am pairing Weller Antique 107 with a Fuente Fuente Opus X. I believe it is going to be a great pairing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, Weller is, of course, from Buffalo Trace. And as you all know, Buffalo Trace does not give out their secrets very much. They keep them well guarded. But what we do know is this is a wheated mash bill, which I like. I like wheated whiskey. And it is 53.5% alcohol by volume, which is 107 proof, hence the 107. So it is a beautiful spirit. It's a great tasting spirit. As you can tell, I've had a few. So we're going to go ahead and glass this up. Kind of worried. I didn't see myself come up live on X. So we're going to test it over here on YouTube. But we're going to march ahead. I know if anything, I am live on Rumble and Instagram. So, all right. Now, oh, and this is aged. There's no specific age statement, but it is aged somewhere in the range of 6 to 8 years. So, all right, I see myself on YouTube. I hear myself on YouTube, so I know the world is right. All right. Again, on the nose. This is a lovely smelling spirit. It really is. You get some great notes of rich caramel and dark cherry. It's a little bit of toasted oak layered in there. There's some nice hints of vanilla bean and just a touch of cinnamon spice on the palate. Not a huge hit of ethanol. There's a little bit of warming on the tongue, but it's a very approachable spirit to be 107 proof. You get it's full-bodied. It's nice and bold. You got some great notes of molasses and toffee. And there's some red fruit in there, some like ripe red apples, that kind of thing. Baking spices. And then there's this kind of, like I said, just kind of this warm wave of oak-driven heat that just washes over your tongue in the best way possible. One more sip. The finish is long and warming. There's a nice lingering spice there with some great caramel sweetness and just the slightest bit of kind of dry oakiness that just kind of fades away. If you can find Antique 107, it's still kind of hard to find. I did see it at a package store earlier this week. It's one that I didn't really think about it being there, but I drive past it on the few days. Every 2 weeks, I have to go in the office. and I saw a Facebook post. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna swing by there today on my way home because I had to be in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. And so I went in there. He had a lot of what would be considered allocated stuff, but there were no points. There was no calling you. Nothing like that. If you was willing to pay the price. I didn't even ask him about the 107 because I knew I had a bottle of it at home. But some of the ones I didn't have, he, yeah, he's a little high on them. So I can't remember which bottle it was that I had been looking for, and I knew it should be somewhere in the 130 to 150 range, and he had it for 199. So I was like, well, thank you. I can't remember what it was, but oh no, that wasn't it. I think that one's 299. Is the orange label Weller. He had one of those, and whatever price he threw out there, I knew it was higher than what it was supposed to be. But I'd ask him about 3 or 4 things, so they're kind of mushing together now. But he was high. Take my word for it. So I'm gonna have another sip. The Weller's making me feel better. All right, now the Fuente Fuente OpusX lovely cigars. I've had a few, not a bunch, but a few. The wrapper is or the filler and binder are from the Dominican Republic. Arturo Fuente operates out of the Dominican Republic. They do grow tobacco there. Then they also grow their exclusive tobaccos there, like the top tier. They call that Chateau Fuente. So anytime you see an Arturo Fuente that says that it has some leaves from Chateau Fuente, those are the best of the best right there. I think they're out there like trimming with scissors and swooshing away bugs and all that kind of stuff. Just make sure that those leaves stay perfect. Anyway, the wrapper is a Dominican sun-grown Rosado. So yes, this is a Dominican Puro. Construction, as you might expect, is impeccable. Let me lower my shades here. It's bright out here. It's a nice light tan, tight yet visible seams. Probably the most pronounced vein. Vein right there. That's it. It didn't even run the length of the stick. So, yeah, I've never had a problem ever with Arturo Fuentes and their construction. They are wonderful. On the nose, you get some wonderful notes of cedar and this kind of like barnyard funkiness. It's great. I love it. You get some red pepper and then kind of an aged tobacco sweetness kind of thing. Let's go ahead and give it a cut. I'm going to be using my Cassetti multi-cutter. I'm on the guillotine cut. Torpedoes, you can't punch them. And I have V-cut them, but it just kind of creates a real odd end there, and it's just easier if you guillotine. It's one of the few that I will guillotine every time is a torpedo. You don't want to take off a lot. As a matter of fact, you want to take off maybe less than you think you would, and see how it goes. Because you can always take off more, but you can't put less back on. Something like that. You know what I mean? And that might require a little bit more, but I'm gonna go with it as it is because I'm not really sure. I think it may be okay. It does have a nice easy draw to it. On the cold draw, I get earth, leather, a nice little subtle spice in there, and just a faint raisiny like kind of sweetness. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, lighter. A little windy out here today. I've been trying to talk Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez into letting me have a tiki bar out here that I could close up. So in the dead of winter and the heat of summer, I could do my shows from inside a space that I could heat and air. It's got a really nice sweetness on the retro hail that I wasn't really expecting. Usually it's more like pepper driven. I'll touch it up a little bit. Always keep a single torch around just in case, because I prefer using a larger. My favorite lighter is my Rocky Patel Envoy 5 torch, but you can't do a lot of precise lighting with that one. That one gets the job done. I do think I'm gonna have to take a little bit more off of that. Just that's what I was saying. It's always better to take off too little than too much. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I took off. That much extra. Maybe about 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. Now that's extremely open draw now. Initially, I get this kind of pepper forward blast with some nice bold notes of cedar, some leather. It's got kind of a deep, kind of earthy core to it. The retro hail, like I said, there was a touch of fruitiness in there, but also you do get some notes of red pepper and a little bit of spice. Mm. All right, we're gonna try them together. Looks like a scientific experiment going there. Um, just immediately, the Antique 107 kind of amplifies the spice in the OpusX, creating this kind of bold, peppery opening with some kind of caramel sweetness, sweetened edges. Um, it is. They seem to go extremely well together. You've got some really good sweet notes in the spirit, but also it's got enough oomph and pepper in it to kind of keep up with the peppery spiciness of the cigar. I would say that the uh, the Dominican sun-grown wrapper really kind of drives that signature Opus X sweet spiciness, delivering some really good red pepper intensity, balanced by a little bit of a subtle natural sweetness. Uh, it gives you some nice moderate tones. We're not at dark, rich tones yet, but we're probably going to get there. Probably going to get there. Pretty sure. If you're watching live, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a heart or say hello, whatever. I can't always see somebody. I can't always see who is there, but I can tell sometimes. I always try to wave back, let you know I see you. Hey, Daisy, what's up? Yeah, I have all kinds of technology going on here. It's a lot. I have 3 phones. I have my iPhone, I have my old Samsung, and I have my old uh, I was typing. And my old iPhone, that one has YouTube on it, so I could see and hear myself. And then these two are going live. And then I have my iPad with my show notes on it. So, speaking of my show notes, if you go over to X, look me up over there, Sticks-n-Stonez 2. Number 2. You can subscribe for $1 a month. The subscribers all got my show notes yesterday. They already knew what was going to be happening, so they're prepared. If you want to be prepared, go over to X and subscribe. $1 a month, at least until X makes me raise it. I was talking to my boy Super Cigar Dave on X, and he's like, "How did you be able to do that? I couldn't do that. They said it wasn't enough." Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not high pockets like you are. I'm just a lowly little podcaster here with, half a dozen people watching. These Opus X's, they really are great cigars. I can run up on some every now and again, but I cannot buy boxes. That is not in my pocketbook. They are expensive, but they're worth it. They really are. I've still got a couple of more in the Humi. I do go to Famous. Yeah. You can get a lot of things in 5-packs there that you can't necessarily get at any of the other online places. That's where I get a lot of my cigars from. So, because unless it's something I know I'm going to smoke a lot of, like I've got 2 boxes of Macanudo orange labels because I think they're like my best daily go-to cigar. I don't buy boxes. I'll buy a 5-pack, where if I see a really good deal on something in a 10-pack, I'll buy a 10-pack. It's not until I'm sure that I'm going to like this enough to spend money on a box that I'll go and buy a box. Because, I mean, you think about it, I'm doing this every week. I could not buy boxes of everything that I'm presenting. This is the 51st episode of this year. Next week is the last episode of the year. And there is no way I could buy 52 boxes of cigars. Now I do reuse stuff, like I keep all my notes by episode, and I can go back and, so if I do a test smoke, then I do an episode. Well, now I've got 2 smokes. So if I decide I want to pair that cigar again 6 months from now, then I can always go back and find that show. And I've still got 2 cigars left, and I got my show notes. So there's a lot goes into this. I'm not just, going balls out. That's some very, very nice. I see. It's still the 2 screens aren't close enough together that I can get it all in one shot without holding it back away from the. I mean, those are just some wonderful stacks of ash. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a stack that looks that good. I will still tap it off before it falls in my lap, but a little touch up here, it needs to be a little uneven. That's really what I like about the single torch. I know I'm not going to overcook the cigar trying to touch it up. You just touch it up a little bit. Hey, baseball coming up. Hot damn. If y'all were here at the beginning, you heard me bitching mightily about how you have to have all the different networks now. Not like it was when we were paying $200 a month for cable. Now then you're probably paying $300 a month for the half a dozen, or it's more like 12 or 15 different subscriptions you have to have. Netflix, when I started, was like $8 or $9 a month. Now it's like 20 something. And it might be different if the quality of the programming was going up. But since COVID, quality of programming has gone down. It's like we used to go to the movies at least once a month. Now it's maybe 4 or 5 times a year. because there's just not anything playing that we really want to drop that kind of money for. I mean, really. And we love going to Studio Movie Grill, where they'll serve you dinner and drinks if you want it, in a nice leather recliner, and so you'll spend $70 or $80 on tickets, because I have 4, and then you'll drop $100, especially if you're getting that adult milkshake like I do. I always get the adult milkshake. I would not get dinner before I didn't get the adult milkshake. That's good eating right there. If you never had it, you should have it. It's basically a Bailey's Kahlua milkshake. I love it. The 107 is really, really good spirit. It is delicious. And I haven't had a lot of Wellers. I have a bottle of Special Reserve. I have this bottle of 107. I have sampled 12-year, maybe foolproof. But I haven't found one that I like better than the 107. And I saw it somewhere. It was somebody posted a picture. They were at Buffalo Trace Distillery one day this week, and they were making note of the fact that they had put out the very limited E.H. Taylor 4-grain. They said it only comes out like once a year or something like that. And they were selling it there for $79 a fifth. If that had been in a liquor store, it'd have been $179, if not more. I got to make a trip to northern Kentucky. I am kind of a Buffalo Trace guy. I like a lot of their stuff. I like E.H. Taylor. I like Weller. I like Buffalo Trace. Yeah, I mean, they've kind of got the market cornered. Penelope, not a Buffalo Trace spirit. Penelope is excellent. I think I've got 7 different bottles of their bourbons. My favorite, and I think this may be my favorite all-time bourbon, is the Rio. Right now, I'm chasing Penelope Havana. The liquor store I was at earlier this week, I was saying something about it because he had a bottle of the Rio, and I was saying, "Yeah, I've been chasing the Havana." He said, I saw one of those." He didn't say they'd had one. He said, "I saw one." It's hard to find. Some of this stuff's hard to find. Very hard to find. And then I think there was a drop today, and it may have been at Total Wine. Somebody said that they got there at 8 o'clock and there was already like 70 people in line. If I walk in and they got something I want, I'll buy it. I ain't sitting in line. There's people that camp out for 3-4 days like they're going to see the Beatles, just to get into Specs once a year, big drop. Great prices, all the kinds of stuff that you normally can't get. But I'm like, I'm not sleeping in a tent for 3 or 4 days for that. I can make my own at home. I know how. Yeah, let me go back over this because I've been on here a while now. Yeah, about 24 minutes. You go back through some of this for those of you that may have joined a little late. I'm pairing Weller Antique 107 with a Fuente Fuente OpusX by Arturo Fuente. The 107 is, as it says, is 107 proof, 53.5% by alcohol, 53.5% alcohol by volume. It is a wheated mash bill, which I am a wheated whiskey fan. Wheat gives you some softer edges, where rye is very spicy. I like rye, but I'm very much a wheated whiskey guy. And then, of course, I like, regular corn bourbon. I've had bourbons that were almost all corn. Not quite, but almost. Extremely sweet. I like the weeded stuff. Anyway, it is from the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and it is aged somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 years. The nose gave us some great notes of caramel and dark cherry and toasted oak. There was some that classic vanilla bean in there with a little bit of cinnamon spice. The palate was full-bodied and bold with molasses and toffee, ripe red fruit, some baking spices, and then just this nice warm wave of kind of oak-driven heat. The finish was long, warming with some lingering spices, some caramel sweetness, and kind of a slightly dry, oaky kind of fade. The Opus X is a Dominican Puro, Dominican Republic filler and binder, and then a Dominican sun-grown Rosado wrapper. Uh, Typical flawless construction from Fuente. The nose gave us cedar, and this all I could say is this kind of funky barnyardiness that I love. Yeah, I grew up in the country. I grew up around cows and pigs, and I knew what barnyard was. And it's just got that nice kind of barnyard mustiness, and I really like that. And then you get some red pepper and some nice, kind of a nice aged tobacco sweetness. And we are first pitch. It's Orioles and the whatever they call the Washington team now. I don't know. Nationals, maybe. I don't know. I'm not. I'm like Ralphie May. I'm not politically correct. I'm just correct. I don't get into all this. Whatever they were before, that's what they should be. I like the. Oh, what do they call the Cleveland team now? It's not the Cleveland Indians because that was way too. Oh no, we might offend the Indians. No, I think there was a lot of the Indians actually liked it. The Seminole tribe put up a fight when they were trying to rename the Florida State from the Seminoles. It's like, no, you're honoring the Native American heritage of this country. They were here before the rest of us, but we were all immigrants. They came from across the land bridge. So anyway, uh, and then our cold draw had earth and leather and a subtle spiciness, and then just a touch of kind of a raisiny type sweetness. Um, and then once we got it lit, um, we had kind of pepper forward with a nice bold cedar blast, some leather, kind of a deep earthy kind of core. We had a little bit of sweetness, but also red pepper and spice on the retrohale. That was a pretty thick retrohale. Normally, it's fairly clean. It's just like one or two things, and they don't do a whole lot of overlapping. Anyway, now together, the 107, that high proof, really amplified the OpusX spice, and that created kind of a bold, peppery opening with this nice caramely sweetness that kind of smoothed out the edges. So now you're all caught up. And if you had subscribed, you could have gone out and maybe found you an OpusX and some 107, and you could be sitting here sipping and smoking with me. So that means you need to subscribe. Go over to X, Sticks-n-Stonez too. I post it to subscribers only. I really try to do it Wednesday or Thursday. Sometimes, especially if it's the week I'm in the office, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it could actually be Friday. But, you know. And there's just copious amounts of like velvety smoke coming off this stick. Uh, it's not, I say this a lot about a lot of sticks, it's not a smoke monster, but it's got a really good amount of smoke off of it. And after I cut that, if you weren't here in the beginning, I clipped it with my guillotine, and I said, I'm going to cut it a little long, and then I can always go back and clip it again if I need to take more off. But you can't put it back on once you've taken too much off. So I took it off, and it wasn't until I lit it that I'm like, no, needs a little more. So I went back and I took that off, about 1/8 of an inch. And that opened it up. If you use a guillotine, especially on torpedoes, uh, you can always take more off. I know sometimes with a rounded foot, it's hard to take off small amounts, but when you're dealing with the torpedoes, um, clip it clip it shorter than what you really kind of think it should be, and try it. Then you can go back and cut more off if you need to. But once you cut off too much, you can't glue it back on. Well, we're only about 5 minutes into this game, and Baltimore has already got 2 outs, and they're whoever's batting now is 1-1, 1-2, 2-1. No, 2 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, we're doing good. He's got a 375 average. He's doing pretty good. I don't watch a whole lot of baseball. Like right now, I like having it on because I just like having something that I don't have to keep up with while I'm doing my thing. But I have something to kind of catch my attention when I'm, in between phases of having to be like in the zone. Now I'm confused. You got Baltimore. It says Orioles. Is this the Washington Commanders? Maybe it is. But there's CC on the other uniform. I'm like, what's CC stand for? I mean, maybe WC if it's the Washington Commanders, but I don't know. He's worried about old dude on second base. Oh man, 2 outs, but I just noticed they got runners on first and second. Full count, 2 outs. Runners will be going. Struck him out. All right, quick story. Because we're getting close to the halfway mark, and halfway mark, I'll cut us off. Yeah, we're at 32 minutes. I don't want to keep y'all too much longer than that. It's Saturday. I was not very sporty growing up. I actually became much more athletic as I got older, but like 5th grade, trying out for the baseball team, I was afraid of the ball. So every time somebody wanted to play pitch with me or catch with me, I'd hold my glove up and turn my head because I was afraid the ball would hit me in the face, and I didn't make the team. So imagine that. It's not like it was, not like it is today, where it's like, oh, everybody get out there. No. You had to earn your spot, even in 5th grade. So the next year, 6th grade, I went for the 6th grade basketball team, and I made it. I think they just didn't have enough people. But my mom swears that I played a lot during the year, and I'm like, Mom, I may have been, in 6th grade, but I do at least remember some of what went on. And I'm like, I remember being in 2 games, one of which went into the game with like 2.5 minutes left, and one game I went in with like 45 seconds left. I was pretty much now I played every position on the squad. I sat in the center of the bench, guarded the water cooler, and I leaned forward to see if the coach was going to call my number. So I played every position. Um, but back then, you're talking late 70s, early 80s, right around 1980, 81, 82 maybe. They didn't have the nice baggy uniforms that they wear now. Oh no, these were like the Larry Bird skin tight, and I was kind of chubby as a kid. I didn't get taller and more slender until I hit 16, and I looked like 10 pounds of flour in a 5-pound sack, and I didn't like that. And so after those 2 years of experiences, I never went out for any team again until I threw shot on the track team. And I wasn't on the shot put team. I was the shot put team. I think I ranked 4th at regional or district or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I was not a very sporty person. Now, I grew a lot, like 16, 17. I'd be in PE class. PE class was an afternoon, you know, sixth, seventh period, somewhere like that. And so they would have already put the goals down, and they had 6 goals for the basketball team for basketball practice. And so we were like raining outside, and we were running around the basketball court, just trying to burn off some energy on us. And I could run, and I would jump, and I could catch, I could grab every rim around, I could slam it with one hand. Um, and the coaches were always so mad at me. They're like, "Elrod, why in the hell are you not on my basketball team?" I'm like, "Well, I'm lazy, coach." I wasn't going to tell them is because I was embarrassed. Like, well, the last time I played basketball, I had Dunlap disease. And I didn't like the way the uniform looked. For those of you that don't know, Dunlap disease is when your belly done lapped over your belt. That's what I had. So anyway, looking back, and I've pushed my girls. I'm like, I don't care what you do, but you're going to do something. They've ended up sticking with cheerleading, which, we live in Texas. Girl and cheerleader. And the older girl, our oldest girl, uh, she's our second oldest period. Um, she was a competitive cheerleader throughout high school, cheered on the cheer squad, high school squads. Uh, the other two, not so much on the competitive part. One of them, she flamed out real quick because she didn't like putting her feet over the top of her head. Uh, and the other one, she was good, but she's a little bit lazy. I wouldn't know where she got that from. Uh, the last year that she cheered competitively, the coach said, if she shows up for practice and she's on her game, she's the best athlete I got on the squad. But if she's hot, tired, cold, hungry, anything, she's not going to perform. She said, when she started that season, she was the number one athlete on the squad. And you know that because they are all the way up on the top of the pyramid in the center in the front row. By the end of the season, she was not. So after that, I'm like, I'm not spending another $10,000 a year for you to crouch down in the back. So you can just make the high school team. People don't realize how much it costs. Cheer is expensive. She can do back handspring, back walkover, front walkover. She does pretty well most of the time with her back tuck, but that's about as far as she got. She could roll off now. I've heard people in the stands ooh and ah when they'll come running out for their halftime performance, and she'll come in and she'll do 6 back handsprings in a row, and they'll be like, oh, because that looks impressive. It's actually much harder to do one back tuck, but they don't know that. All right, we're about the halfway mark. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just give you all the information so I'm not holding up on you Saturday, because Saturdays are gold. As we got to the halfway mark, the cigar has developed a nice creaminess with some espresso notes. You've got Weller's kind of weeded softness that really has shined, bringing out the cherry, toffee, and rounded sweetness that really balances out the cigar strength. As we got further in, both seemed to kind of peak in intensity in the last half. The bourbon heat really met and kept up with the cigar's power, the oak, spice, and there was some dark cocoa thrown in there, and they kind of converge all into this just satisfying finish. Um, this is really spice versus sweetness balance, where Weller's weeded profile is kind of tamed. Opus X's more aggressive pepper. The body match was an excellent full-bodied to full-bodied matchup. There was no drop off on either side. On the flavor bridge, you had dark fruit, cocoa, oak, and they all just seemed to go together to create this seamless transition from the mid to the last session. And then the finish together, long, warming, and bold on both ends. That's what she said. I would give the spirit a 9.2 out of 10. I would give the cigar a 9.6 out of 10. Together, I think these are a 9.5. That's probably one of the best sessions I've put together in a while, now that we're the next to last session before the end of the year. And I'm still holding steady. Look at that burn line. I haven't touched it up in a long time, right? Look at that burn line. Look at that. OpusX will set you back $30 or $40 a stick, but well worth it when you're talking about a cigar that you can smoke for the best of occasions. I hope you enjoyed this episode as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Please hit like, subscribe, share, notify, ring all the bells, blow all the whistles, all those kinds of things. Go over to X and subscribe. $1 a month, you get my show notes early. Working on some other things I can do to make that dollar even more enticing. But you get the show notes ahead of time, so you know what it's going to be like. You kind of anticipate. Isn't that the way everybody likes it? They don't, they're like, well, I'm going to sit back here and just see what happens. Oh, no, you look at the show notes and you go, hey, I want to definitely listen to and see what he has to say, because this looks really good. So, and go to Amazon. Sticks-n-Stonez, STICKS-N-STONEZ. You'll find our store. We have some nice Sticks-n-Stonez merchandise. I'm not going to stand up and turn around on this one, but you can go out to Amazon and look it up. On the back of the t-shirt, it's got a desert camo soldier with his M4 at the ready, his face mask on, goggles, helmet, the whole bit, and Joshua 6:8. And the Lord said, who shall I send and whom will go for us? And I said, here am I, Lord, send me. Military folks love that verse. You'll love the shirt. It is my best seller. And people will want to know, where'd you get that at? You send them to Amazon. Till we get to be there again. Keep your sticks dry, your stones cold. Have a great day.